And he was really adamant about her coming back home with him. And he kept asking her at dinner, like, oh, you're going to come back home, right? You're going to come back home with me? Like, you leave tomorrow. Natalie got a little bit creeped out by it. She ended up calling her sister because her and her sister were on the trip together. And she left the dinner. She didn't go back. She was like, oh, my sister needs me. I got to go, blah, blah, blah. And she said, like, Sam was blowing up her phone. Anyways, she gets on her flight.
Today we are covering some insane, unhinged dating stories that I've come across on my TikTok feed. So let's get straight into it.
There's a viral video where a couple has been together for 8 years and then they get engaged and the guy goes on a bachelor trip. The guy has his bachelor party at a strip club in Miami and he ends up getting a lap dance from one of the strippers. He tells his fiance it was just a lap dance and that he didn't cheat on her, and she's like, I know you didn't cheat on me, but I'm still breaking up with you. So she calls off the wedding and breaks up with him just over the lap dance. So only a month after they break up, he is in feed posting the stripper saying that she is the love of his life and that they have perfect synergy, etc, etc. It turns out he took the stripper's number after he got a lap dance the night of his bachelor party. A couple of years ago, I actually went on a bachelorette trip to Cabo and we ran into a group of bachelors. The bachelor that was getting married was fully hitting on one of my close girlfriends. And not only that, but his friends who were there also had girlfriends that they were even living with, and they were trying to flirt with me. I told one of the guys that was hitting on me, I was like, hey, I'm basically taken, like, I'm in the process of getting back with my ex, and you have a girlfriend, so you shouldn't be hitting on me in the first place. This man proceeds to tell me that I am his exact type. And not only that, but my friend who was getting hit on by the bachelor that they were celebrating, he was telling her that he found my friend more attractive in terms of, like, she was in school studying to be a doctor and his current fiance just sits at home and leeches off his money. This man was, like, scheduled to be married in a few weeks. I don't know about you, but when I get married, my man is not going to Cabo, Miami, or Vegas for a bachelor party. I'm definitely setting my boundaries when it comes to bachelor parties before I even get engaged.
That is literally insane. I can totally understand why people have trust issues with their partners going to, like, bachelor parties, because how are you going to do that to your nearly wife? Like, you're getting married and you're behaving like that.
I am disgusted.
It's actually worrying too, because you would literally hope that your partner, your soon-to-be husband, is acting like that without you knowing. Like, it's so beyond me that people act like this. And the first story that she mentioned with the answer, I'm gonna call it, I don't know what I can say on here, so just be safe. I can't believe all he said was, oh, it was just a dance, like nothing else. But then he proceeds to say it's the love of his life. Like, what? Could you imagine being the woman who broke it off? Like, she'd probably be counting her stars thinking that she got rid of this guy. If you're not interested in your partner, why are you choosing to stay with them? That's something I will never, ever understand. If you're not truly happy, why are you marrying, especially marriage? It's a literal legal binding agreement. And if you are not sure of that person, why are you getting married to them? My brain just can't wrap around that fact. Don't do that. Like, if you're with someone and you know that they're not for you, you're holding them back from someone else who could love them for exactly who they are. It's so, so wrong. Okay, let's go on to this next horror hookup story.
You guys, this is the craziest story I have ever heard. I just have to share this, and this is why you have to be careful when you hook up with people when you're traveling to a foreign country. So this girl, I'm just gonna call her Natalie. I'll just use my name. So Natalie was traveling to, I don't want to say the name of the country, but she traveled overseas from America, and she was in this country for only a few days, and she ended up meeting this guy at a bar. We're gonna call him Sam. So Sam and Natalie headed off and they go to multiple dinners together, where I was told that Natalie said that he was constantly feeding her like an insane amount of food at each dinner. Like, it was her last night with Sam and she still hadn't gone back to his place, and he was really adamant about her coming back home with him, and he kept asking her at dinner, like, oh, you're gonna come back home, right? You're gonna come back home with me? Like, you leave tomorrow. Natalie got a little bit creeped out by it. Ended up calling her sister because her and her sister were on the trip together, and she left the dinner. She didn't go back. She was like, oh, my sister needs me, I gotta go, blah, blah, blah. And she said, like, Sam was blowing up her phone. Anyways, she gets on her flight, she goes back to the United States, and she develops, I can't even say it. she develops a rash on her back. So she goes to the dermatologist, told the dermatologist, hey, like, I just came back from this country, like, I developed this rash, not sure what this is, test for it, and then, you know, let me know what comes back. So she was on campus when she got the call from her dermatologist, and her dermatologist was, why am I saying it like that? Her dermatologist was like, call me right now. So her derm calls her and she's like, what are you doing? I need you to come to the office right now. Police are gonna be here. And she was like, what's going on? And she's like, come, I can't say it over the phone. So the girl comes to the dermatologist's office and it wasn't even the police, it was FBI. Turns out that the rash that was on her back was actually a cream that was put that's used for cannibalism. The FBI ended up asking her, like, who have you met with in the last 6 months? She told them about the guy. FBI ends up working with the police in that country. They raid the guy's apartment and they found multiple skulls and limbs that belonged to several women that were missing. And he fully intended on killing her and eating her. Apparently, like, that's the reason why he was taking her to dinner and trying to really get her full. He just, I don't even know. Just be careful out there when it comes to hooking up with people, because you never know, you know? You never know.
I was not expecting that. When I say my jaw dropped, like, I could kind of, from what she was saying, like, he was trying to feed her up, and I was like trying to connect the dots and think, why would he be wanting to do that? Like, what would be the reason for that? And I did not think it was going to head that way. That is so scary. Could you imagine if she went back with this said person? What could have happened? Like, that could have been it. Isn't it so crazy how one decision can, like, change the whole projection of our life? That's insane to me. I'm glad that she listened to, like, her intuition and trusted that, because I feel like some people ignore it when it's just your body's trying to tell you things, and sometimes you need to listen to them because they're true and they're there for a reason. Let's go on to this next scary dating story.
One time I was talking to this guy on Bumble and he wanted to go on a first date and he wanted to go on a hike. And I know that's like a new thing now that people want to go on a hike and don't want to get a drink, don't want to do that. I was like, okay, that's fine, but I don't want to go on a hike. I don't want to go in the middle of nowhere in the woods with someone that I don't know. I was like, well, how about a park or something? He's like, no, I want to go on a hike. And I was like, okay, you're going to go on a hike by yourself then. I'm not going into the woods with, or into the middle of nowhere with someone I don't even know, sir. And he was like, all right, well, we can go for a drive then. I'm like, I don't want to go for a drive. If I didn't want to go on a hike, I don't want to go for a drive. I do not want to be alone with you, sir. That is not what we're going to do on a first date. Hello, people are crazy. So then he was like super pushy about it, and I thought that was weird. And then he was like, well, that's fine, we can go to this park then, I'll pick you up, what's your address? And I was like, absolutely not, I'm not giving you my address, you're a stranger. And he was like, why I want to be a gentleman, why won't you let me pick you up? And I was like, you can be a gentleman in a million ways, and you being super pushy right now is not the way to be a gentleman. I am not giving you my address. And he was like super aggressive about it. So then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna block you, I'm not gonna talk to you anymore. So I blocked him on Bumble. Now, he didn't have my full name, he didn't have my phone number. All of a sudden I get this Facebook message, and he was like, hey, sorry, I'm in the CVS parking lot, someone pulled up next to me. He was like, hey, why did you block me? And I was like, bro, this is why I blocked you. First of all, you were super aggressive. You want to meet in the middle of nowhere. Second of all, you want my address. You're like, want to pick me up, whatever. And now you found me on Facebook. I do not know how. Like, I blocked you, and unless you had my images saved and then you Google image search me after, like, why did you even have my picture? Like, how could you even find me after Bumble? So then I blocked him on Facebook, and he finds me on Instagram, and I was like, bro, you are boo boo boo, like setting off all sorts of alarms. So then I got back on Bumble and I like reported him to Bumble, and I was like, hey, this is what's going on. He seems super creepy. He's super pushy about a first date. He wants to meet a first date in the middle of nowhere. He wants to meet in the woods. He wants to go for a drive, whatever. Now he's found me on all of these different forms of social media. So I blocked him. I blocked him here. I blocked him on all forms of social media that I can. And then I didn't hear from him again, but I was like, this is a little sketchy. So I have the guy's like information, and I am always like watching the news to see if maybe he pops up as like a serial killer or something. But I think I might post him on one of those Are We Dating the Same Guys and just be like, hey, alert, alarms, like watch out for this dude because he wants to meet you in the middle of nowhere, wants your address, and then he gets really angry if you don't give it to him.
Isn't it just sad that we have to be so cautious about going on dates and look for red flags because there's people out there who just do inhumane things to other people? I think that's really sad that we have to do that. As a woman, I don't want to walk down the street alone at night. Like, that's just not something I would do because I'm scared, like, genuinely. And the thing is, like, things happen when you least expect it as well, which is when your guard's down, and that's even scarier. So I think it is good that she's sharing like a bit of knowledge. The fact that someone is being pushy about certain things is always a red flag. Like, why do you care so much? Why are you pushing for this so hard? Doesn't make sense. All right, let's watch this video together of another dating story.
I don't know why my life is full of events so crazy that they should only happen in movies, but I am back with another dating story time. And this is just another reminder to always trust your gut instinct because your intuition is always right. So in March this year, I met this boy at the gym that I go to, and we started seeing each other from June. And after about a month and a half of seeing each other every single weekend and twice throughout the week at the gym as well, he reassured me that we were exclusive, that he wasn't sleeping with anyone else, and that he wanted a relationship. Let me just preface that by saying he got out of an 8-year relationship last year, and so I was kind of expecting him to just be like, oh, I'm not really looking for a relationship at the moment, but he told me he was, and I believed him. Now, because I have been cheated on in the past, I am very hyper aware and a bit psychotic, so I would always go through his following just to look at the girls that he's following just to see like if I can find anything. Anyway, so there was this girl that he was following when we first started seeing each other, and after like a month or two, when I rechecked again, they weren't following each other, but I didn't really think anything of it. I eventually found out that that girl was the girl that he was seeing before me, and in September they started following each other again, which I thought was kind of weird. So I asked him if they still talk to each other. He said, yeah, sometimes, but it's platonic. We just send each other memes, check in on each other, stuff like that. So I tried to not be psychotic at this point and I just left it. 2 weeks ago, I saw 3 message notifications from this girl on his phone, and I wanted to confront him about it, but I kind of brought it up in a roundabout way at first because I wanted him to tell me. So I asked him when was the last time he spoke to her, and he told me last week. I said, like, would you show me the messages? He was like, no, it's personal. And I was like, but if you guys just send each other memes and stuff, like, how is it that personal? And he was like, well, I wouldn't want you to send like our conversation to someone else. So it was just like very sus. Anyway, I told him to unfollow and stop talking to this girl because it made me uncomfortable, to which he did. And I also said to him, you know, like, if you don't show me the messages, I'm literally never going to be able to trust you again. And he was like, that's fine. I will prove to you that you can trust me. But just still like wasn't willing to show me the messages. So this fight went on for like 5 days. I kept telling him to show me the messages. He kept getting really defensive and saying like, we've had this conversation 5 times, and just like really invalidating my feelings. He kept being like, I've unfollowed her, I've stopped talking to her, like, why can't you trust me? And as much as my head was telling me to run because that is so against my morals, I was like, you know what, this guy's done so much for me over the last 5 months. Everything I've asked him to change or do for me, he's done. And so I was like, maybe I should trust him and just try to move forward with it. Next minute, he comes swooping in with the, we have too many fights, there's too much conflict, I can't do this anymore. So then I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was literally willing to put my morals to the side to try and move forward because I thought this relationship would work. So obviously I was like heartbroken and so upset last week because I feel like I never really got the closure I was after. So last night I decided to message the other girl. And to my surprise, this girl knew nothing about me. She had been seeing him and continuously was seeing him since April, was sleeping with him. She had no idea about me. This man had a fucking roster, right? He saw her on Friday nights. I would come down Saturday, Sunday and stay with him. Then he would be up in Brisbane during the week and I would see him Tuesday, Thursday at the gym. He told us both that we were both exclusive with him and that he wanted a relationship with both of us. Anyway, so we both confronted him, and all he had to say was literally like, I'm sorry I hurt you, like I know I did the wrong thing, I wish I was in a better place, and then he deactivated his Instagram. But something tells me that me and this other girl are not the only ones that have been through this with this guy, so if you live on the Gold Coast and you've had a similar experience, please hit me up. As shitty as this was to go through, it literally just goes to show that female intuition is always right and that you should always trust your gut. No.
That is so wrong that she was going to put her morals to the side just to get along in a relationship with this individual. And in the end, they ended up having a roster. Like, are you joking? These are people, like people with feelings who care about you. It's one thing to say you're exclusive and have someone believe that because you've told them that, to then tell another individual the same thing. Like, what the? I don't know how people morally do things like this. I wouldn't do it because I would feel so bloody horrible. It would eat me up inside. I don't get it. If you want to be with one person, cool. If you want to be with multiple, fine. But you need to be honest with people about your intentions and what you're actually doing, and not just fluff around it and tell them what they want to hear or what you think they do, because generally the truth comes out. So I think that it's just wrong. In a way, maybe it was a good thing that the guy cut it off, because it sounded like she was going to compromise her morals for the relationship, and she would have just got more hurt staying with him for longer and then found out. Alright, let's go on to this last video. I think this one is going to be interesting, so let's watch it together.
Never let a man come over to your house after a first date. And if you used to do that, you're not going to do that after the story time. Let's go. I also forget to mention that it's a true story time. Yeah, let us begin. The story starts off with this young girl. She goes on a first date with this guy. They go out to get dinner. And honestly, he was a green flag all throughout. Like, he was nice to the waitresses. He paid for the bill. Like, no red flags at all. This is why no matter how normal or nice a guy seems to be, you can never trust them too quickly, because the story's like this. The dinner goes great, he pays the bill, and then they just go about their day and they go to their own homes. So obviously this is a respectful man, right? Like, he didn't even try to like get her to come over and didn't ask to go over to her house yet. So she goes home and then she gets a call from him, and he's basically saying how he can't find his key, his roommate is not answering the phone, and if he could just come over for the time being until either his roommate answers the phone or he finds his key somehow. And she obviously said yes, because once again, no red flags. He comes over, they're having a blast, they're just sitting on the couch, talking, vibing, and then it just gets really late. So she's like, hey, you can sleep on the couch until you figure things out. I'm gonna go to my room. And something told her to lock the door. Obviously, she lives alone. She doesn't normally lock the door, but something, an instinct. A woman's instinct is always right. So she ends up locking the door and then just going to sleep. A couple hours pass, and then she gets a knock on her bedroom door, and it's him asking for a phone charger because his died. Something told her once again, don't open the door, just tell him where it is. So she does not move, and she says, it's on the kitchen counter, like, help yourself. And he says thank you, and then he goes about his business, and then she just goes back to bed. Okay, this is where it gets a little for me. A couple minutes go by, and then he comes back and knocks on the door and says, hey, like, this charger's not working. Like, do you have a charger in your room that I can borrow? Something just like raises a flag in her head, like, hey, something's wrong. Why does he want to get into my room so bad? So she calls the police. After she calls the police, she hears like the door kind of opening. She hears like a bunch of commotion outside. And then a couple minutes later, the police knock on her bedroom door and say, hey, like, you're safe. He's in custody. Come outside and look at your living room. Guess what she saw? Please, just pause the video. I want you guys to guess first before you actually hear what it is. So she walks out from her bedroom to her living room with the police, and she sees her whole living room fully plastered, and she just sees a box of power tools. So drills, axes, you name it, it was in that power tool box. If she left her room and she didn't use her womanly instincts, you guys, women, we're never wrong. I said what I said and I meant it. If she did not just listen to her instincts, she would have been gone. I'm so scared for women. Like, we're not safe ever, and it's really sad. I really want to know how she felt in that moment. Like, just to be like, whoa, like, I just listened to my gut, and that's the main reason I'm still alive till this day. Like, if you're watching this, I'm so proud of you, and I hope you know that. Moral of the story is, a man can be so normal, have the perfect job, and just be a walking green flag and still not be the person that you think he is. So just don't let anyone into your home. Make sure that you guys run a background check first. Okay, I love you guys.
Well, what a nightmare. In her own home, mind you. This man had set up a whole, like, no, that is yuck. If I was in that woman's position, I would have felt so invaded. This person's come over to her house, stayed over, like, out of the kindness of her heart. She was like, yep, you can stay and sleep on the couch, you know. And then he's out there setting up the whole thing. Like, what? Ladies, we need to be careful. I know we always think that couldn't be me, that would never happen to me, but it does. And it's scary. Please just always listen to your intuition, because most of the time it's telling you something that you need to follow. Yes, it's sad that we have to do this. Yes, it's annoying, but, you know, you deserve to be safe. That's like, just, we have this one life, and I think we just forget that there is people out there, unfortunately, who are just psycho, honestly. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I appreciate having you here. Don't forget to leave a like, and I will definitely post future content around this. I think I might make it into a playlist actually, so you can binge it. I always love a binge. And don't forget, if you want to join the fam, we would love to have you here. So don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Have an amazing rest of your day. Bye.